And we're tying the Hackled March Brown. This is my favorite wet fly to match the Isonychia hatch. I tend to do very well with it and catch some bigger fish, which is why I'm using a 2X strong wet fly hook. Our tying silk is Pearsall's Gossamer Hot Orange. Of course, you can just use regular old orange, your favorite thread. When I start the fly, as with most soft hackles, I just do a few wraps right there at the head. And the reason for that is I'm trying to create a little tie-in point. You see I've got my brown partridge feather, which is what we're using for hackle there, and I've preened the feathers back. But watch that first wrap. See how the butt end of the feather rises? That's on purpose, and that's so when I wind the hackle, it's going to want to splay out in that classic North Country spider umbrella shape. Clip the butt of the feather off there because it tends to get in the way. And I'm not going to wind a full base of thread here because this fly has a tail. Calls for gray partridge. So what I did is I went to the wing of the partridge, and there's some nice bigger feathers there. And you can see at the bottom there, it's got a good supply of those longer gray fibers. So I grabbed a bunch and I'm tying them in there. I gave my silk a little counterclockwise, excuse me, that was a clockwise spin for me. You're supposed to make the tail as long as the body. I made it a little longer. I'm not going to stress about it. So the body of this fly, the original calls for red ant colored. This is an Old English pattern, so it was colored with a U. Red ant colored dubbing. So I didn't have any of that. So I've been using rust for years. And the trout seem to like it. I tie this fly two different ways. One way I do sort of a tight noodle of dubbing. And the other way, which is what I'm doing right now, is just a dusting of the rabbit fur on the thread. I did wind it down tightly near the tail to make more of that taper shape, but you can see it's pretty loose on the rest of the body. So we just wind forward, and what happens here is we get kind of a moderately rough spiked body, but plenty of that orange silk is showing through. I'll move my feather back, get the thread to the head of the fly, attach hackle pliers, and give it a wind. Now, when you're winding the hackle, you're always moving forward, and you'll know after every turn, I preen the fibers back. I always want the new wrap to go in front of everything. I don't want anything to get ahead of itself there. So again, preening it back. Here's my third wrap. Lock that stem down. Go in with the scissors and trim. Then you make a head without winding too much back towards the rear. You don't want to bind those fibers down, but I'm doing, I think, 4 or 5 wraps here. Make a nice, small, neat head. Whip finish. And there is your Hackled March Brown. Great Isonychia pattern. So why I like this fly so much is because of this fish you're about to see. This is the biggest trout I've ever caught on a wet fly. And that net opening is 17 inches. And you can see there's plenty of fish still not showing there. So draw your own conclusions. Thanks for watching.